leadership is a mirror. Whatever you look like is how your team looks like.
Write that one down, dude. Write that one down.
Good thing you got it on video.
Yeah. Hey, go back to 607 and see
yeah, dude. No, we can include that in the intro, man. I figure we might as well introduce this guy who's dropping all these beautiful tidbits. So I'm going to give you one of the best introductions I've ever given anybody.
Don't make me blush.
I read it, dude. It's a good one. I read it.
Before I do that, I want to encourage everybody to kind of stick around because we're going to have a final tip at the end of the video, and it's going to be about, video and what you should do, what you can do every day if you don't have a $10,000 media room, and, how to kind of gain some traction and stuff. So stick around to the end. But right now, I want to introduce the big dog. This is the owner of Media Pouch out of Austin, Texas.
Woo.
Guys work with brands, small brands. I don't know if you've heard about them. Ferrari, Lamborghini. Have you heard about those guys?
Man, I might have driven past a car dealership or two.
He's worked with Airbnb.
Don't qualify, by the way.
Right? Airbnb, Yacht Week, Sotheby's Real Estate. It's a real estate company, right?
Yep. Awesome.
Ran videos for our local NAREP, which is the National Association of Hispanic Real Estate Professionals. Ranger Creek Whiskey. I mean, it just goes on and on and on, man. So, and I haven't even said his name yet. I'm going to keep going. You went viral with the cowboy on snow skis video in downtown in Austin. It was on the news. I don't know if you saw it.
I didn't, but when I saw cowboy snow skis, I was like, what exactly is that?
Well, you got Snowmageddon that happened in Texas, so, he was able to capture that living in Austin.
Oh, I did see that.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, it was fun. Saw it on the news.
We can get it.
We'll get the second part.
He's like, keep going.
Third party intro, man. Your videos have helped sell over $10 million in real estate. You've driven $2 million in sales in the year 2020 for your clients. Freaking amazing, man. That's a lot of cold hard cash for people who are just coming to you for advice, and you're able to just produce for them. So, and over 400% ROI for companies working with you. So the man, the myth, Ryan Gallego with Media Pouch, man. Thanks for coming.
Well, thanks, James. That was a hell of an intro. That one definitely takes the line. I try. Thank you. I appreciate all the kind words.
Sure, man.
Well, they're facts, bro.
They are.
He's handsome, obviously. Look at this guy. He's fit.
I got the haircut today just for you guys in the podcast.
Guy's got a head full of hair over here.
Most eligible bachelor.
There you go, bro.
In Texas.
That's our next goal. We've got to get you on The Bachelor.
Well, funny enough, I'm in the process of being casted for a dating show over in France.
Oh, congratulations.
In September. So
okay.
That is so
it's called
funny.
The Love Palace.
It's called Dated American.
You win. Cool, man.
Dude, that's so funny. That's awesome.
It is.
Tell me a little bit about how the viral video went down with the cowboy on snow skis. I mean, obviously it snowed in Texas. Just give us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, it snowed in Texas, which is just a random thing. I grew up in St. Louis. It always snows, so no big deal to me. But I was driving in the office. I'm probably the only one driving in the office, and everybody else is enjoying their day off. And there's a dude literally skiing down South Congress Avenue. And for people who aren't familiar with Austin, that's like the main road in and out of downtown there. And there's like all these boutique stores, and I just stop the car and I look at him. I'm like, "Are you skiing down South Congress?" He's like, "Yeah, I've been here since 6 a.m. and it's like 8 a.m. I'm like, "Wow, this guy's really gotten a day in already." Yeah. And I'm like, "Are you gonna be here for a while?" He's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "I'm gonna go grab the drone and we're gonna make some dope content that goes viral real quick." Mm-hmm. And so I go in the office, grab the drone, come back, just whip out the drone, start filming them. Well, here comes another guy. And he starts skiing, so now I've got two of them skiing, and people are starting to drive past now, people are awake, and they're honking the horns, and they're like, "Oh, that's awesome, do it, guys." And then towards the end, this guy shows up in a cowboy hat with skis, and I'm like, "Oh, this thing was already going viral, but this is the Texas viral moment right now."
Yeah, it's so funny.
And so then I just went back to the office, the thing with viral content is if it's something that's really newsworthy or in the moment, it's got to get out that day. So I just pounded out an edit for the next 3 hours, made the cowboy guy have like a yeehaw, like as he's going down the counter. He's like, woo!
We'll edit. I like that.
And then just like put it out there. And actually the first 12 hours, it didn't get much traction. I'm just like, fuck. I'm like, this thing should be taken off. Like maybe people must just be out there enjoying the snow right now. They're not on their computers or anything. So the next day, I just DM'd it on Instagram to like all the news stations in Austin, and just Austin is what it started off as. And then one of them replied, and they're like, yeah, can we feature it? And then that's when 5 of the other ones picked it up, and they're like, oh, well, Fox picked it up, so now we want to pick it up. And then Chive picked it up, and then once Chive picked it up, that thing was gone. Like, it was just
stratosphere.
Yeah, I think it's got like 500,000 views across like all different platforms right now.
Man, what's that feel like to have something finally kind of hit like that?
Well, I will say, like, we've had stuff go viral before, but it's in a non-organic way, like where we're paying to promote it or like advertising it, and like that's easy, you can control it. But to organically do it, I was like, yes, finally I get to put that hole in the notch on the belt, because that was it's a good feeling. I mean, you see all the engagement with it, and you're like, man, that was a cool thing I did today.
That's impressive.
So what does that mean to you? Like, from like, or what does that mean to me? So I'm not a media guy. I'm not I have a Facebook.
Yeah.
But that's about where I draw the line. So whenever you got a video that goes 500,000 views, I mean, what does that mean for your business and for you personally?
Yeah, I mean, personally, I think that's just been a personal goal of mine, is to have one of Media Pouch's videos go viral. Like, hopefully we can have more go viral. But that was the first step, was get one organic one go viral. So that was good personal goal. But then on the business side, it's just good PR, right? Like, you're just there. That's the best kind of free PR you can get. Like, when you've got 5 news stations picking it up, and you've got the Chive picking it up. And I think that's where a lot of people, content creators, even anybody in business, like, they don't understand that part of it, where it's like, oh, like, I can make something big out of this, because now I get to use the logos, like, as featured on Chive, as featured on Fox. Like, that can go on the websites, that can go in the demo reel. And what that's ultimately doing from your free PR stunt is adding credibility behind your brand. Because when people go and they're looking at you and like, well, what has this firm done?
Right.
And they see like as featured on, okay, well, they must know what they're doing then. And so that's really, from a business sense, like what it means. Like that's the ultimate golden ticket. If the more brands like that you can get featured on, or like logos, that's a good sign.
Yeah, I mean, I would imagine, like, if you can, it's kind of like a pound the chest a little bit. Man, I put two cowboys going skiing down South Austin, down South Congress in Austin. 500,000 views.
Yep.
And I do know. I mean, 500,000 views. That's a lot of views, man.
Yeah,
it's a lot of eyeballs.
People struggle to get 1,000.
Yeah.
On legit content.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Dude,
exactly.
That's a lot of views.
That is true.
And it's the thing that's I really learned from it, like the lesson learned from that video, is that, I mean, we do a lot of crazy cool content all the time. Like, we're shooting Lambos and stuff. Like, you'd think that stuff would go viral.
No kidding.
But it's not a thing. The stuff that goes viral and the stuff that doesn't is when it's in the moment, it's trending, and you've got something cool that it catches people's attention, along with a good title.
Sure.
So that's the big lesson learned. So, if we were to start shooting something for Lambo or something like that, and Formula One's in town, well, probably a pretty good chance that it goes viral, since it's trending and stuff like that. People are already paying attention to it. So
that makes sense.
That's a cool lesson.
Oh yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah. So like there's a new, I can't say which brand it is yet, but they're getting ready to launch in Austin, and they're a supercar club, and they have something planned for around when James Bond movie comes out, and they've got that specific Aston Martin coming. And so the whole game plan with distribution there is to create this video beforehand, but then as James Bond, they start promoting that, it's going to start trending, then we tag along with that, and then theirs will organically start trending. So It's just all about that watching the market and stuff like that.
Yeah, like that's incredible. The power of watching SEO and watching trends and Google trends and acting on it. And then it's also like right place, right time.
100%. Yeah.
But you were prepared too.
Yeah, I mean, luckily the office was just another 5-minute drive, and
sure.
The Land Rover came in nice with snow mode that day, because if it wasn't for snow mode, like, I don't know if I'd be getting up that hill.
I mean, sometimes it's just better to be lucky, right?
Yep.
Sure.
I'll take it as luck. 100%.
Yeah, I'll tell you, speaking of Austin and trending, man, I had to go to Waco this past week, and I took the toll road.
Yeah.
And drove by, I'm assuming what could only be the new Tesla facility.
Yeah, Gigafactory.
Golly.
Yeah.
Yep.
That thing is a monster.
It's huge.
That is a monster of a building.
I don't think everybody, I am privy to some of the insight there, but I thought it was just a factory and like the factory workers and stuff were going to be there. This is everything. It's their factory on the main floor, and then like corporate is above it. And so like they're bringing everybody here, from corporate to, the associates and manufacturer builders.
Yeah.
Like everybody's coming here.
Which brings its own vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And it's the inside of it is Austin inspired too. So like there's like hammocks and stuff in there. Like it's a very chill Austin vibe.
It is I tell you what it is right now. It's a big it's a concrete building that is you could probably see it from space.
It's huge.
It is huge.
Yeah.
He's not messing around.
He is, yeah.
He's
Elon,
like, Texas Day.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, Elon was not playing when he came to that building.
No.
You got Elon, you got Joe up in your town, man. You got all the big guys.
Everybody's here now, like Rogan, Musk. You got Tom Segura. I don't know if you guys follow him or not. He's a hilarious comedian.
Yeah, he's a good comedian.
Everybody's coming here.
So I want to talk to you a little bit about why Media Pouch was born, because you weren't always this media guy. I mean, you probably dabbled, but you weren't just diving in head over heels like, I am Media Pouch and this is my path to success. So talk to us a little bit about life before Media Pouch. I know you worked for Amazon, you did some financials for them, you led some teams. Tell us a little bit about your Amazon life before Media Pouch.
Well, I think you have to get the full story. You got to back it up to whenever I was 14 years old. I was playing in a soccer tournament at the time, and I was working like this T-shirt stand with my coach, and then there was this like photography startup next to us, and it was a cool concept. Like the guy would go out there and shoot photos of the kids playing in the tournament. They'd come back, they'd see the photos on the laptops, they buy the picture. I'm like, yeah, cool concept. Right. We was like slammed, and he comes over to me. He's like, "Hey, I'll give you $20 if you come over here and just help me like fill out the like paperwork or whatever." I'm like, "Yeah, easy."
Yeah.
And that's where it all started with photography, because Paul was the owner, and he's still one of my biggest mentors to this day. He ended up teaching me everything about photography, videography, editing, accounting, marketing, sales, like you name it. Like by the time I graduated college, he was like, "So you want to open a franchise and go to Kansas City?" And I'm like, "No, Kansas City's not the place." I'm like, "Texas, maybe,"
Sure.
But like, so that's where it all started with. And, I did my like own photography company whenever I was 17 years old. And that was whenever I realized entrepreneurship was probably going to be for me. Cause, I remember going into H&R Block with my parents, and the H&R Block guy's like, "Wait, you're 17 and you made $30,000 this year?" And I'm like,
"Yeah, I read that on your bio." I was like, "That's on your website." Yeah. I was like, "It's pretty impressive, man."
I'm like, yeah. I'm like, I even felt like it wasn't a lot either, because I'm, like I've already, at that point I'm like, oh, like there's gear involved, there's expenses, like yeah, like that's revenue, like, there's still stuff involved with that. But this guy was like, whoa, because it's like, I'm sure it's probably more than what he's making at H&R Block.
Sure.
And so I stuck with that throughout college and still working at STL Digital, doing the photo thing on the side, and then got recruited by Amazon my junior year to go do operations for them. And that's where like all the, photography, videography kind of started dying for me a little bit, because I got put in the corporate role. And like that was a fun job up to a certain point. Got to do a lot of traveling, like literally traveled back and forth between here, Australia, lived in San Antonio, lived in Austin, lived in Tampa. like you name it, I was there. The operations piece was fun. We set a lot of records, like shipping out 1,000,000 units and all that stuff. And then 2 years into it, I'm like, like kind of bored with it. And I transitioned in their international finance team, and that started to like re-engage me because like my major was a double major in economics and finance. I'm like, oh, okay, like I can get back into numbers and analyzing things. And
which is super funny to me, by the way.
I know, it's really I really wanted to go work on Wall Street, and that's what I had planned, but you know, Amazon knocks, so you open that door, you know, you're not going to say no to Bezos.
Right.
It's like, hey, Jeff,
For
I'm here,
sure.
you know.
Yeah, no doubt.
So that's where things kind of switch paths, and then during that year there, my buddies and I went to the Yacht Week in Croatia, and I bought a drone for the first time ever, like 2 weeks prior to that. I was like, yeah, like we're going to Croatia on yachts, like we're gonna get some sick drone content. Like, it's worth buying one and figuring it out.
Just like personal content.
Yeah, just personal content. I just thought it'd be cool. Like, drones were still like a new thing in 2018, right. And even Instagram, I felt like was still kind of getting going. And so put it up in the sky one night captured a beautiful sunset. The director of marketing comes over. She's like, hey, is this you? I'm like, yep. She's like, our videographer didn't show up this week. Here's a brand new GoPro. Would you mind capturing content on that and with your drone and just filming for us this week? I'm like, sure.
Yeah,
like
right.
my thing was photography. I hadn't even really dabbled in video yet. And I just remember after that week, you know, everybody wanted to be on this camera because it's the official Yacht Week video.
Yeah.
And it was just the time of my life. And on the last day, I'm like, man, I think I want to build a media production company, just have like an adventure team that works with Yacht Week, have an automotive team that works with cars, so on and so forth. And then, you know, that last year that I'm at Amazon, I came back and just Media Pouch was like my side hustle and baby, and working on the weekends late at night, just getting the foundation built. And then on my 3 year at Amazon, you know, quite a bit of stock vested, and I'm like, yeah, like, you know, shares are at 2,000 a pop right now. Like, I'm gonna cash out and have a go at this thing. And at that point too, I had been trying to get a job over in Australia with Amazon, and for 8 months I interviewed for 5 different roles and got rejected every single time. And I'm like, fuck this. I'm like, I am not letting this company determine like what I want to do in life. And like, what was crazy to me was on my birthday that year, I took 2 weeks off from Amazon here in the US just to fly over to Australia and go interview for 2 of the positions, just to show these managers how serious I was.
Right.
And I'm like, I'm here. I'm like, it's my birthday. I bought a flight, which is $1,500. Like, I'm serious about this. And, you know, still the answer was no because of these visa issues. They're like, well, we got to interview so many like Australian citizens, and I'm like, fuck your Australian citizens. I'm like, I'm determined. I'm like,
right.
If you can't see that, then like, maybe this isn't the right fit for me.
And that's a big part of your story I wanted to talk to you about. You know, I think that you heard at Amazon that, you know, you were maybe too ambitious for your own good.
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, dude, I know what I want and I know what's going to work, and I want to go do it now because I can make it work.
Yep.
And so I think that's just huge. That's another reason why I love your videos, because it's like they're very ambitious and they're very, you know, outside of the box, things that you haven't seen before. So I can appreciate that. But yeah, it sucks, but you got to take a leap of faith. You got to believe in yourself, you know?
100%. I mean, like with Amazon, it wasn't too bad starting out there. Like it wasn't too corporatized yet. It wasn't too much red tape. Like it was still, you know, it had the startup vibe to it. But by the time I left, I was like, whoa, I don't recognize this place. Like it was a different beast with all that kind of red tape and stuff.
Sure.
And
that's just the evolution of a lot of businesses that start.
Yeah, you know. I get it. You know, hopefully one day Media Pouch is doing somewhere even half
HR department.
of what Bezos is doing. You know, like, geez, that'd be great just to get a fraction of it. But yeah, so after leaving Amazon, a month later booked a one-way flight over to Australia, moved there for 5 months, launched Media Pouch officially over there, and then worked with a handful of clients, building out the portfolio. And then I really wanted to stay there and live there and work there my entire life. Like that was the ultimate goal. But um, then I ran into the visa issues, and I'm like, oh, so maybe these Amazon guys maybe did know a thing or two.
Right.
Which, I could have stayed the rest of the visa, which was for another 7 months, or I could have just ended it right there and cut my losses. And so I cut my losses because I'm like, well, what's the point of continuing to build the business over here and the brand and have more clients? And it's just going to be harder in 7 months to leave. Meanwhile, I could have a nice summer here, beaches. Bondi Beach is a topless beach, be around babes all the time. I'm like, these are real things you're weighing as a 22-year-old,
right,
or 25-year-old at that time. And so I came home, which ended up being a really good decision because COVID then happened in like January, February last year. Sure. And I came back at the end of November of 2019. And then like those first couple months, just like networking my ass off. I was literally going to like 3 or 4 networking events a day. Like I was going to a coffee one, lunch one, dinner one, happy hour one, like just to meet people.
Right.
And then COVID happened. I was like, I don't know if this is how this is going to go. It's kind of scary, but then it just took off. And I was like, holy shit. Like that was the right call coming back, because if I would have stayed, potentially I would have gotten locked in over there because I have a couple friends where like they can't leave Australia right now. Like they're just tied to it. And it's like a couple of my friends, they got to leave. They ended up going to Hawaii. But some of them are still like over there until like this whole thing ends and like their borders open back up. So like,
it's crazy.
Imagine, I don't know what you would have done in that situation. Like,
I did notice that it seems like your videos kind of changed, right at the end of 2019, 2020, like just the way you shoot or the shots that you're getting, and it went to another level. Is there anything that like particularly happened that when frame of mind changed? What happened? Why did they just it went from like here to here? You were doing real estate videos and all of a sudden it just went into like dynamic, beautiful shots.
Well, there was 2 things. Like I originally thought Media Pouch was going to be a real estate media production company. And like that was all we were going to do was just because I got let me back up again, but the whole idea for the real estate media production thing came from this show called $1 Million Listing LA. Right. It's on Bravo. I don't know if you guys have watched it or not, but it's all these it's like your major realtors and they're selling these multi-million-dollar houses and it's badass. I'm like, I want to do that. And so like there was one point right before I started building Media Pouch where I need to be a realtor to do what I want to do on this show or whatever. And so I bought all the books and invested, and I started studying to be a realtor, and I'm just like, I'm like halfway into like these books, and I'm like, this is some boring shit, man. I'm like, why do I have to know how far away like the sewer can be from the like sidewalk in a house? I'm like, this is no.
Right.
I'm like, I don't want to study for this. Like what those guys do is cool, but like it's not something I'm willing to study for. And then I really actually understood what I wanted out of that show, which was I just want to do the content. Mm-hmm. I want to make the cool videos because what I think people don't realize is like there's a whole production team behind there in that same house having that same experience working with those same people all at the same time, and that's where the light bulb went off. But to get back to your question was after thinking I was going to do real estate, I just realized that a lot of realtors are cheap and they want, no offense to the realtors out there, but you guys are. I know what your commission is on those $2 million houses, but
and they want a $200 video.
Yeah, but they have the expectations of freaking Steven Spielberg, and it's like, no, you don't understand this.
That is so true.
And so that's really when I started pulling out of like the real estate. I'm like, I watch some guys do it really well, and like one of my buddies, he owns Drone Hub. Like he does an amazing job. Like he is actually working with those guys on $1 Million Listing LA and in New York as well. But it's a niche market, and like there's only so many people that can be in it. And so I started. That was the first part. In Australia, there was a company called X Media, and I really started falling in, not in love with those guys. Like, how do I say this?
Kind of like into mentorship kind of style. Or?
Yeah, like I saw what was in my head, but I didn't know what, like, they were showing me something that I wanted that I didn't know I wanted yet, like how I wanted the videos to look and feel, and like the team and all that stuff. And it was a group of guys, young, and they were actually doing real estate, but man, they made these houses look insane, and they had these like crazy edits, like sick transitions. Like, I'm like, what the fuck are these guys doing with these houses? Like, it was just insane. And so when I started seeing that, like, that's whenever I started learning how to do that stuff. And I didn't have like an open kind of dialogue with them or anything. I tried, but it's one of those secret sauce things, like you're not willing to give up like how you do specific edits, which I get, like you got to keep the secret sauce. But I'd say I started learning all of that, and that's when the videos started changing. Like, okay, so we can do some stuff like this and make it look like that and feel like this, and there needs to be a little bit more storyboarding and a little bit more pre-planning, pre-production stuff, and that's where those videos change from 2019. I feel like they change every day, honestly. Like, the projects that come in, I'm like, well, what are we doing different this time? Because like we're definitely not about to be stagnant doing the same thing every single time.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, whenever you're videoing, Lamborghini's doing 100 and God knows how fast miles an hour through, along the beach of, California.
Yeah.
You have to do. You can't be stagnant.
Yeah, because even that in itself will get old after a while, and it's the same thing what we're seeing in the drone industry right now. Like, drone videos, drone photos have become stagnant. Like, people are so numb to it. It's like, oh, another drone video.
Sure.
Very expected. Very chill.
Right.
But now you've got these FPV drones coming out, and you're seeing this huge change in the industry where now people are putting goggles on. You're seeing flips going around these cars.
Which FPV is
first person view. So the big difference between a regular DJI Mavic drone and a FPV drone, which DJI just released, is that with the FPV drone you have the goggles on, and that's what makes it first person, because it's like putting on a VR headset. Like, you're immersed. You are the drone. The drone's in the sky. Like, it feels like you're in a fighter jet pilot, or like you're the bird in the sky with this thing, and you can't actually see it with your own eyesight.
And there's some amazing shots that come out. Y'all are flipping over canyons and then coming back and getting somebody on a rock wall. You're like, holy shit.
Yeah, those are, and a lot of the FPV shots that all of the FPV shots that we've done in the past, that's been with like Alex Vanover and then Taylor Hancock, which those guys are the number one, and then Alex is number one drone racing league champion of the world, and then Taylor's like not far behind him. I was lucky enough to like work with them on Squadra and build a relationship, and those guys, insane. Like, that Alex is out there in Hollywood working on Michael Bay sets now and filming Justin Bieber's music videos. Like, that's how talented that kid is.
Sure. And we know how much Bieber pays.
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really drones have never really been my thing. I don't have a use for one. At least that I thought I didn't.
Well, that's what you say.
Right.
But occasionally you catch them on like ESPN with the drone races. Dude, it's a big industry.
Massive. It's only getting, all of the EA sports, they're only getting bigger. Like, all of the gaming and I mean, the drone racing kind of falls into the EA and like am I saying that right? EA?
Electronic Arts.
Yeah. Okay, so it is EA
Sports.
Yeah. Well, gaming and sports is kind of coming together.
There's tons of people out there making millions off of it. Like, I think the craziest thing to me is that Twitch. Like, there's people paying to watch other people play games, or even like race drones and stuff, and it's just these guys are making millions, and it's like, what are you guys doing all day watching these people? But it's like, it's a real thing. So who am I to judge? Like,
sure, you know, they'll subscribe to somebody for $1,000. You're like, I would never do that, but this guy's got $20 million and he's sitting at home all day. $1,000 is nothing to them. You know?
I got referred to a buyer buying about a $1.8 million home, and all he does is, I don't even know what he does. He works on YouTube. Like, that's what I was told. Like, the lender couldn't even, really explain what he does. All he knew is that he had plenty of damn cash and making plenty of money. And he's like, oh, he just works on YouTube, makes videos.
Yep.
Like,
sure.
Okay, well,
because I mean,
that's how the podcast started.
For sure, bro.
It's like, as long if and when it catches on, no matter if it's a podcast or YouTube channel or whatever. Like, once you reach, on YouTube, it's 1,000 subscribers, then you can YouTube will start paying you.
Monetize?
Yeah, they'll let you monetize your account, and then they'll essentially, if you're under 1,000 views, they're already doing this. They're already letting people run ads on your shit. You're just not getting paid for it. But then once you're over 1,000, then you start getting paid for it. And it's all based on the view count. So the more views you get, the more money you get. And so, I mean, anybody who's collecting paychecks from YouTube, like, that's just monthly recurring revenue right there. Like, and they're barely doing anything. It's passive.
It's like the cast of Friends.
Mm-hmm.
They're just getting paid.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For reruns.
Yeah, exactly.
So back to COVID, back to taking a full dive into this thing and say, I'm going to do this no matter, I'm going to make it work.
Yeah.
So I call that heading into obscurity, right? And like, I think Eric and I and our crew, we're kind of mastering the art of going into the darkness where no one has been before and being totally okay with that.
Oh God, yeah, man.
I love that place. I love that dark room.
And so, just, heading into obscurity, with COVID and starting your own business and not knowing where maybe your next client is coming from. I was listening to Gary Vee the other day, and it was, he was talking about, now you're working with karma and serendipity, which, karma, we all know what that is. And serendipity is waiting for that great event to kind of show itself. And so you can go round first base or round second base.
Yep.
So, and that's kind of the business that we're in. So just providing a great product like you do, the rest is going to work itself out, It's just, and we feel the same way.
Yeah. I mean, in our business, we do home and auto insurance. Insurance is not fun. It's not even for us, man. But people choose not to understand insurance. I get it. It's confusing. It can be, but you still have to find a way to relate to people, which was the evolution of where we are now. Last year we wanted to dig down within our current clients and get involved. Well, unfortunately, COVID didn't really. It wasn't the involved that we thought. We thought involvement. We're going to go network and happy hour, and we're going to go
bring them in.
Yeah, sure. We're going to just paint the town with business cards and pens. Well, it wasn't the case. So then you have to find another way to get involved. So we invested in technology, and I don't think we could. I mean, it was literally it changed the way we do things here.
Like, give examples of, like, invest in technology. Like, what'd you guys invest in?
We basically invested in, like, what I would, for lack of a better term, it's not. Calling Better Agency a CRM is a disgrace to Better Agency. These people they're like us, man.
Gotcha.
We have goals here. Our goal as an agency is to intentionally disrupt.
Yep.
The market, or the insurance world.
I'd say you guys are doing that. Right? I don't know any other insurance company that's got their own media podcast room.
Exactly.
Like, you guys are doing that.
And at the end of the day, like, we're going to intentionally disrupt. This is the dark room. And we have a goal here to get people engaged, educated, and inspired. What better way to get people engaged, educated, and inspired than invest in technology, invest in how, instead of people, we're in a reactive industry, but that doesn't mean we can't be proactive for our insureds. That's our job.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Get the information to them.
Yeah.
this is how this whole thing evolved to where we're at now.
And communication, technology, investing in communication technologies. Automation is such a broad word, but basically sending messages that look like they're coming from Eric or me.
Yep.
But it's really a computer, but you don't know the difference.
Right.
Intentional automation.
Yeah, because people like personal stuff. Like they don't want, it's personalized. Like that's what people value. That's what they love. They don't love like Bed Bath and Beyond.
Right.
They love how Bed Bath and Beyond soaps make them feel, or like that's the personalization to it.
Yeah.
But it's the same thing with you guys. Like if you're going on the proactiveness, you're providing them value, by being proactive, which they view as being very personal and personalized, and that's where then the text messages come in. Like the name of the game is just all about how personal and how much value you can provide.
Right.
And like that's where you really get into like brand loyalty and turn them from what's the saying? Like you turn them from just clients to raving fans.
Exactly.
Well, we definitely, you definitely want cheerleaders within for your business, like the non-paid marketing reps, are your insureds that constantly refer you to their friends and family.
Yeah.
We wanted to be super intentional, and at the end of the day, like we wanted people to know we're humans too. Like you'll love us. We know you don't know us right now, but you're going to love us. If you don't believe me, just wait.
Yep.
You know what I mean? One of those scenarios, and we just wanted to wrap our arms around people. We just had to figure out how we were going to do it legally. And
that's what he always says.
And we just wanted we want people to know how great we are.
Yeah.
And we're grateful that we have 10,000 insureds.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So, we're a pretty big business. I can't have 10,000 people come to my office every day or even once a year.
And, that's
so how
insanity.
do you do it?
Yeah, exactly.
So this is how we've decided to do it.
Wow.
Is there any automation? I guess in your industry, I don't know that there is any automation. I mean, besides like you'll send me an email after we meet. It's like, how did we do, or when's our next meeting, and that is all automated. But is there any big automations happening in your industry that people need to be aware of?
Not besides the one that like my big goal is like, I mean, it would. Yeah, to answer your question, like the automation, what I view automation and what's necessary for like a media production company is that all of your standard work, meaning like your CRMs and proposals, contracts, payments, all that stuff should be very much automated, because that's not it's very much high priority and value, but it's something that you can automate, and you want to spend your time on the highest priority task and follow the money and where that's at. So all that stuff's automated. I had this thought a couple of years ago where when you're from a video shooting standpoint, like, no, I don't think you should have anything automated besides maybe backgrounds or like, your facility or your studio. But shooting techniques and like framing and all that stuff, there's no way to like automate a lot of that stuff.
Like stock footage versus what you provide is just...
like you can get into the realm of standard work versus automation, and standard work definitely plays a big part in filming, but in terms of automation, like, no. On the editing side of things, that's where I see the opportunity, because, and it's mind-blowing to me that like you have these companies like Adobe that are huge, like billion-dollar companies, and their programs and applications, like, here I am, this is going to sound really bad, but sometimes there are days like when they update those applications, that thing will just crash, and I spend half my day literally just trying to like work on a project, and all it keeps doing is crash. And so that's really bad, but they'll figure their shit out one day. But it surprises me what they haven't done in terms of automation is like simplified or automated the workflow in editing. Because with editing, you're going to import your video files into the program, and then you're going to start dicing stuff up. You're going to start cutting, cut 0, 1, 2, 3, go through all that, and then you're going to do a basic color grade, and then your finishing color grade, and then you're going to do your transitions, and there's a whole workflow to it, and almost every single creator I've met follows something pretty similar to it from start to finish. Like, they'll maybe do that here and that there versus me, but the whole thing stays the same. My thought process is we need to just take these basic things out. Like, there should definitely be automation that says, like, select it to like an interview, right? Like something like this. Okay, automation, cut in and out of when dialogue ends, and then you can get to cut 1. Great. That just saved me a whole process.
Right.
And then from that cut, it's like, okay, Premiere, your automation, whatever you want to call it. Here's my clips. These are the settings I shot in. So let's call it, the picture profile, HLG2 or S-Log2, S-Log3. Do a basic color grade based on that. And there's LUTs, right, which are lookup tables where you like select it and you put it on there. But like even that, like that's just one more click, one more step in the process where it's like, why can't I just import it to say like, hey, this was shot at this frame? It knows all that stuff. So why can't it just be like, hey, we're going to do a basic color correction. We know that you like a stylized look, so we're going to leave that to you, but we're going to cut in and out on the dialogue. And here's like your actual pieces of video that you need to edit. Everything else is garbage that you shot, by the way.
Automated, thank you.
That's funny.
But that right there, like that is where I see the big opportunity.
Sure.
If there's anybody that's going to do it, it should be them, because it would literally, I'd have to go and find investors for this idea. Like we're talking like multi-millions of dollars just to get like coders in there and like people to program this thing, because you would have to, on top of automation, like you have to have some serious AI that is also capable of learning. Like it wouldn't be like the AI would fit in because you can't just automate everybody's workflow. Like people have a different kind of look and feel to the videos, and that's where I know that AI would help, because it can learn based on somebody's, what they're doing in terms of speech or video. And you would set it at base 0 and you would let it learn for like 2 months with you, and then let it take over and start automating it.
That would be pretty damn cool.
That's what I'm saying. And like, that's where I think, as video, that's where my head goes, because video is here to stay. Like this shit is like taking off. Like I knew it's taking off because all of my processes for sales changed. Like nothing's outbound anymore. Like I'm not emailing anybody. I'm not calling anybody. Like it's all inbound. It's all referrals. It's everything's coming at me. And I think that's here for the next 10 years. So why not, try to automate some of this stuff so that we can just build this brand bigger and bigger. So long answer, but yes, no automation yet, but there's definitely a huge opportunity out there.
I love it, man. Well, back to, this is my favorite part about you, man. And there's a water underneath your chair.
Okay, great, because I'm almost out of my,
the
my
Waterloo.
sparkling black
Waterloo,
chair.
shout out Waterloo. All right, cool. So,
sponsor us.
dude, you, my favorite part about you is that, and I say you are in the vision, you are in the business of turning dreams into reality. And you corrected me. You were like, well, I really turned visions into reality. And I'm like, dude, they're dreams, damn it. Because, I think Eric and myself even too, it's like I had a dream that this is what it's going to be one day. This is, our office is all done intentionally, right?
Yep.
And so I just think it's very cool that you're actually able to turn people's visions into reality. I mean, that's got to be a pretty damn cool feeling,
It is. I mean, I think that's why I'm ultimately happy every day I wake up. We were just before this started, your friends are mad at you because you're driving into work with a smile on your face. Well, that's me every morning.
Right.
And the amount of fulfillment that I get from that every day, like, puts me in the clouds of happiness.
Sure.
Like, because it's like every time I walk in here, to see something that was in your guys' heads and I helped you guys just put the physical tangible into it, like, your happiness cannot be bought. This thing is amazing, and so that makes me super fucking grateful and super fulfilled at the end of the day.
Totally.
And when you're seeing something through from like, you know, no concept at all and zero, you know, like who knows what this even looks like, feels like. I mean, we were on Amazon looking for those plants over there. Like, do you want some green in there? Do we like those, like, you know, sound panels?
Sure.
But that's where it all starts, and then to see it through, you know, there's very few things out there in the world where you can actually, I think if you're a business owner, you definitely see things start to finish. But in the corporate world, like Amazon or even college for that matter, like there's very few things that you get to own an entire process on from start to finish.
Yeah, you know, when you came by, it definitely concreted that, you know, there's light at the end of the tunnel for this. You know, we may not have the tools, but we need to find who does.
Yep.
And you know, that's just the reality. And you know, as the world's evolving to just, you know, how relationships and, you know, messages and, you know, even for us, like how quotes are being delivered, it's not just an email of a PDF.
Right.
You know, how we've evolved to how we're. It's just crazy how much media is playing it's actually the role in all of this. None of this happens without media, right?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
It's the way if we would have thought about. I mean, I'm 37 years old. You know, I was in high school from 98 to 2002 or whatever. How fast the evolution of media over the last 20 years is just it's mind-boggling.
Yeah, and it's like you're really not
Mm-hmm.
even getting somebody's attention anymore if you're not using some type of visual.
Right.
You know?
And even that is hard. Like you have 3 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
And let me tell you how hardcore some of these companies are about that. Hollow Gear, for example, their CEO, I mean, these guys dump who knows how much money into ads every month, but they work. And I mean, their CEO gets in there and he analyzes these videos. Like, he'll test them once we send them over to him. He's like, not a strong enough hook at the beginning. Like, needs a better 3-second catch. So we'll have to swap out that first 3 seconds, and we'll, you know, this time I'm like, well, maybe people want something funny. So, like, we started the one video with the chick dropping the ball. I'm like, maybe that'll work. Like, who knows? But, like, you've got to try it, because if it's not catching their attention that first 3 seconds, they're gone. They're still scrolling, and game over.
Yeah.
But that's how, I mean, when you've got CEOs of companies now looking at video ads and, like, what the first 3 seconds look like, that, yeah, media is...
Times have changed.
Well,
Yeah.
you can't watch anything on your phone, or much less Google anything without having to watch an ad first.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
it's annoying.
It
Yeah.
is, I mean,
Yeah, but
And
it's
I
all
pay-
a business.
but it pays the bills.
Oh, it 100% does. And I mean, they get my money because I'm like, nope, I don't want to hear them. I don't want to see them. And so I
Sure.
pay the premium on like Hulu and, YouTube. I'm like, I don't want to
Oh, I
see
feel
this
the
shit.
same.
Like,
Yeah.
I'm the
You
same
just
way.
can't wait till the skip ad the button comes up on YouTube. Like
Yeah.
you're like, oh, I gotta watch this Liberty Mutual,
Yeah.
hook for the next 5 seconds.
Yep.
Right. For
Yeah.
sure, man.
And then the last thing I want to watch is a Liberty Mutual commercial.
Oh, wait. That freaking ostrich.
I'm sure that just like
Yeah.
grinds your gears.
Yeah, I know, right? And it's kind of funny because I got a 4-year-old, and she's like walks around the house, Liberty, Liberty, Liberty.
I was literally just about to go there because I can hear it in my head.
I'm
It's like,
like,
liberty,
grounded.
liberty. But there's something to be said about that too, where
Right.
if you do create the right video ad and it sticks like that, you can write your future, because there's this like liquor store from back home in St. Louis that I remember, and it was always this yellow.
It's this one. We'll kick it back.
It was
on.
always this like yellow. It looked like Big Bird,
Sure.
and it'd be like cheap, fun, and it's still in my fucking head. And I'm
That's
just,
so
and that,
funny.
That was even before I could like drink. I was like 10 years old, and I still remember this thing.
Yeah.
But the power of ads, you know,
Right.
like they work if they're done right.
Cool, man. Okay, we're gonna get into the business section of this whole thing, so I
Okay.
can't wait. What I want to do is I want to start getting down to the business portion of this whole thing, man. You obviously, like we said, you come from a finance background, so business, driving value to your customers is important. Driving, good things happening from from the good money people pay to you. That's your goal is you're results driven. So
Yep.
I think a great question is, why is video marketing so powerful when you capture it correctly? Like, what are you doing to our brains whenever you do a great video? I mean, we feel emotions, we buy in. What is going on in our brain psychologically, statistically when you do a great video and you execute it the right way?
Yeah. There's two things that go into it to get the results that you're talking about. Part one, like what goes through your brain, is storytelling, and that starts with like your hook, your rising action, your climax, and then your outro. And if you can take somebody through that in your video, it doesn't have to be like something super emotionally like sad. Like it can be the same thing with comedy. It can be just something happy. But if you can follow that same, flow in a video, then that's what's going on in your head. Like it's like what you did at the beginning of the podcast, like hang out here for the last tip. So you're telling the story right now, but that was your hook at the beginning to get people to listen through the entire podcast, because people are pretty competitive at nature. Like, some might seem like they're not, but instinctively they are, and people want to see things through. Like they want to accomplish a task. They want to know that thing. They want to win it. So that's what you're doing with the hook there. And then you give them that at the end, and it's like, boom, now they've got a little dopamine effect, dopamine hit, and they're like, ooh, I like that.
Sure.
So,
and I think that what you're tapping into is, the hook, and then bringing up the problem, and then the climax, and then what is the solution to the problem. This is something that's been used for thousands of years in storytelling.
It's as old as ever.
Yeah.
This shit does not go. It's never going away. It's like it is in human genetics to storytell.
Absolutely. Cool. And okay, great. And so, yeah, and I think that so emotionally, that's what's going on. Is there statistically, people? Is there any statistics or anything like that you can drop on us as far as?
In terms of what?
I guess like people buying in after you tell a story or after you explain to them kind of what's going on. I guess we're not really looking for statistics, but it's just there's a clear evidence that this works.
Well, you talked about the first 3 seconds.
Yep.
And then you got 3 seconds to get somebody you got 3 seconds to get somebody's attention.
Yep. So that's where you're hooking them at.
So we've got somebody's attention. We're 15 seconds into this video.
Yep.
Where do you see this, the evolution of the video after the first, 3 to 10 seconds?
Yep. You're problem solving. You're either creating a problem or you're introducing the problem to then solve, and I'm going to try to keep this visual, but you're either creating the problem right here on the way up, or you're introducing the problem right here. And then you're providing this solution to the problem you created or the problem that exists in this person's life. And then this is how that solution works.
And how you solve
Shop
the problem.
now. Call me. Learn more. That's your call to action. That's the last 3 seconds.
Right.
All of that needs to take place in under a minute, minute and a half.
So there's a book out there. I'm pretty sure you've read it. I read it and explained a lot of it to the office and relayed. There's a book out there called Contagious. And it's the idea behind the book is what people want.
Yeah.
Right? It talks about storytelling. People don't really want to be hit with just a bunch of facts.
No.
We talk about it in our industry. We want to give people fear, facts, and fun.
Yep.
And fear is the storytelling part of this, and the fun part. We want to give people some facts, like, hey man, the average water claim is, was it $12,000?
Sure.
The average hailstorm, we're going to get, whatever it may be, just to get their attention.
Yep.
But what what lands them is the storytelling part.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And there's another book called Story Brand, which is by a very famous author who's probably sold hundreds of thousands of copies, but that's exactly where I learned about the concept that you're talking about right now.
Yeah. I mean, it's storytelling's like, it was taking place in my life before I even knew it, and probably before you guys even knew it. But like, think back to like interviews, like when you're applying to jobs and stuff like that. Like, the name of the game was to story tell your resume, you know,
Right.
not just make it look like this is about me and this is the work I've done and these are my references, but how can you tie it all in to create this, you know, really cool story for the person interviewing you? And that's it's no different now with videos. Like, same thing with like your facts, right? With what was it with the water bill?
The water
12,000.
damage.
Yeah, like a average water claim, it could be
Yeah.
12 grand or.
You story tell that, you know, like,
Sure.
hey Jim, did you know that the average water claim is $12,000? Like, but imagine if that didn't have to be you, and you could take that same $12,000 and go buy a nice boat this summer for you and your kids to have way more fun. Like,
Right.
storytelling.
Sure.
Because that's a real, I mean, you're not leading them down anything. It's like, do this shit, protect yourself, you know, for you guys
Right.
with insurance, like, spend your money on things that make you happier.
Yeah, transfer the risk to the carrier, not so
Yep.
much on yourself.
Right.
Yeah, and it's just the science of how the brain works. It's just
Yep.
simply that's what it is. Okay, cool. So back to building trust and increasing credibility. This is one of the things on your website, on
Yep.
your YouTube of, you know, one of your core values.
Yep.
So what are some of the ways, why is it important to build trust and increase credibility? And what are some of the ways that you do that through video?
Yeah. I think that's a great question because, like, just from being in photos or video alone automatically is going to build your journey. Like, it's going to start you on your journey to credibility, because the more people see you, you know, on TV or on that billboard or in that YouTube video or featured here, it's kind of like the viral video, right? Like, it's another notch in the belt of like, I've seen you here, you've done this, and that's where you start building the credibility. So really the name of the game with credibility is, when you're starting out, like, get out as much content as you possibly can so that your audience and viewers and people who follow you start understanding you and seeing you in a different light as this, because you're ultimately you're trying to build to this, like, the go-to person, the expert authority status. Like, that's where you want to be at, but it starts with the credibility first and just being seen there. And right, like, it happens to you guys. Like, if you would see the person on Fox News walk in here, like, you don't know why you trust them, but you're like, I think I've seen you somewhere, and like that. But that's where it starts, because you've seen them on TV,
Right.
and then they'll start trusting you once you're actually providing value. Right? Like, if you're not providing value, then they're not going to trust you, because the people who are out there making content just to make it, and it like isn't really solving a problem, it's just content.
Right.
That's where you get into that, you know, the pool of, it's not trust, it's just cool kind of credibility, like, great job getting out there, but
it's just another video.
It's just another video, right? And but like, the trust comes from, like, with what's a really good example? Okay, so take our one client. Won't name names, but our one insurance client down here in San Antonio. You know, she's been doing for over a year. We've been doing videos for her, the vlog type videos, and we shoot 4 videos in one session once a month, and all of her people trust her, like, on her YouTube channel, on her email subscription list, like, on LinkedIn. I see it on LinkedIn the most. You know, people are engaged with this lady because she's, one, putting out the video content, so she's got their attention, she's credible, but they're trusting her now because, oh shit, like, she's on top of this, like, this is a trending topic or something happening today, and she's here's the problem, and she's providing the solution. I didn't have to pay for it. Like she just gave me that. And so when that starts happening more and more, where she's at now, it's like tons of engagement, tons of likes, tons of shares, tons of thank you, Allison. This was, or thank you, someone. Damn it.
Yeah.
Not name.
But yeah, and you are the irrefutable expert in that field.
She's created credibility.
Yes,
right.
And that's where she's at with it. Like she's now gotten to the point where the brand and herself are at an expert authority status, and people trust her. And that's why, she's getting more deals done through these videos because, one, she's consistently putting them out there. Like, we do 4 for a reason, 1 per week. And people, they've turned on the notifications every Tuesday. They go watch her videos, and she's got a topic for them. She solves that problem, and now they keep going.
Yeah.
But that person's in the health field, right?
Yes.
And you couldn't.
It's not sexy at all.
Not at all.
By the way, like
it's not
very much like what you guys are saying. Like it's insurance because it is insurance.
She can come next time.
She would be a great one to have on here and explain like how she's done it because it's remarkable. It just takes time though, and you got to have patience with it. And most people don't have the patience for it, but if you stick with it, then it pays off.
We can talk about the instant gratification in a second.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you just ran right. You bumped over the second cone, which is building expert authority status. Man, when you're in a room full of 1,000 people, and maybe you say something, there's 100 other people that can kind of refute it, or kind of just say, I don't know about that. But when you're putting a video out online, you are the expert. And there's who's going to refute what you're saying. So
yeah.
Well, the great thing about video is that there is a product at the end of it, right?
Yep.
So it's like that guy's videos suck. It's like, well, no, they don't, because have you seen them?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like there is something in play there.
I mean to go, I guess, to like play devil's advocate on myself, even to your point, like there are a lot of people out there that have built that credibility and trust and expert authority status, like with just cell phone footage, like iPhone footage and, pretty shitty video quality. And that's not always like the number one thing. Like those people are providing so much freaking value that like, that's how they got there. They're just using video as the medium to get there.
Right.
Now, if they would up their, content production value, like, then they can probably start targeting a little bit higher dollar ticket items and clientele, because that's really what happens when you've already got the expert authority status and your video quality is shitty. Like you've already got clients, you're doing pretty well. But when you up the production value, that's when you can unlock the next, level of clients, like start charging more and stuff like that.
Well, I think also it's the evolution of content. When you upgrade the iPhone, when you go to the next level, your content can be better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
And but you also want to evolve to creating better content. So you challenge yourself. You challenge your creative mind to do better.
Yep.
And that's just that. I mean,
like that's what you guys did here.
Yeah.
It's exactly what you guys did here with, you've already got everything going and it's successful.
Right.
But now let's start doing production. Let's be at this level so that it's, we've got all the good stuff going, and it, the blue lights, the sign, all this stuff is attention grabbing. And it shows the quality of it, and it's like we're invested in it. We're serious about this. We're here to play, and we're here for the long term.
Right. So we talked about building trust. We talked about the impact videos have for a health insurance agent, whatever. Talk to me about who your clients are. Like who is if I was to say, Ryan, I want to send you somebody. Who what am I looking for?
Yeah, it's changed big time since I started to where it's at now, because It used to be anybody and everybody that wants to do video, and I think anybody in business when they're first starting out, like they haven't written out their ideal client list. They don't know what they look like. And that's where I was. I was really trying to figure out what I want to do, like what videos, who is the clientele. And so that's why I did any and all of it. But now the person...
It's a great idea, by the way. It'll help you funnel.
Yeah, you have to. It's just like with like like Gary Vee says, like, go work a million jobs, figure out what you're passionate about, go do it. I took the same concept and did it with, Media Pouch, because I'm like, well, he's kind of right. Like, I don't know who, I don't know what I want to shoot. I don't know who, I don't know what they look like. Like, I don't know what's fun. Anyway, now the client that I want to work with that fits best for Media Pouch is somebody who's already doing some form of like video content or wants to start doing video content, or pretty much like they've got a marketing budget and they want to take that and just put gasoline on the fire.
Right.
Those are the kind of people that I want now, because our prices have definitely changed, and like we've jumped up quite a bit, and that's through like demand, but also the equipment that we're working on with now. But I also understand how to get the results that they need versus like, this is probably the biggest reason why the clients change. I can't get the small client the result that they need or want with their budget. Like I want to help the mom and pop shop, and like, when I can, I will. But, that expensive video is only half the problem that I'm providing the solution for. Like, I need you to invest in the distribution on this thing for me to like make this successful and like actually, these results are real. These are all facts, and these are all things that we've done for people. But they've also allowed me to run distribution or like consult them on how to do the distribution if they want to do it their own. But if I just give you this video and you don't have the budget to put, ad spend behind it or promotion, and you can't actually execute on this game plan roadmap that I'm giving you for distribution, it's not going to work. And I don't want that client anymore, because I want to get results for people. Like, I want people to actually listen to what I'm saying, in a non-narcissistic way, but like, I've got this formula, and if you follow it, X is going to happen. And so that's the ideal client. It can be, I think the videos are still whatever it wants to be. It can be real estate, it can be product, it can be automotive or adventure, but do they fit that specific characteristic of, are they doing marketing? Are they ready to go to the next level or ready to change something? And do they have, the wisdom and budget to listen to me on how to get that result?
Yeah.
So
we talked about it a while ago. This isn't instant gratification.
It's not.
By no means.
Sometimes it is.
It can
but
be.
It's not always that way.
Statistically speaking, there is a 0% chance of me spending $25,000 for you to do me a badass video and it sit on my desk. I am going to get zero out of that.
Zero.
Yeah. So there is a huge plan. It's kind of like we talk about. It's kind of like everything's is an egg in a basket.
Yep.
The video is the biggest piece of the puzzle.
Yep.
But there's a bunch of little puzzle pieces that's surrounding this big piece that have the biggest effect, because a good video is not that good if nobody's watching it.
Exactly. And this is where I think video is the ultimate thing, because from video, you can pull all of this shit out of it. You can strip the audio. Now I've got audio for my podcast, and I've got my video for my video podcast. I then take my audio file and I transcribe it. Great. Now I've got a blog post. Now I've got shit to put in my to send out to my my email list.
Right.
I can pull pictures out of that video because I'm shooting in 4K, and like, shit just is that high res now, and now I've got pictures. Like, you just got text, audio, photo, Did I name a fourth one? Was it 3?
The video itself.
Oh yeah, the 4 video.
Yeah.
You just got 4 mediums out of one thing.
Sure.
That's insane.
And I think
that's why it works.
Exactly. And I was going to say that. I think that's why it works, and that's what people need to understand is that, you know, we're not just shooting a video just because we want to be on TV.
No.
You know what I mean? Like this, we're going to take this and we're going to use it for other avenues that we're trying to build on.
Yep.
You know,
you really want to get into some like video data and stuff like that, you can start altering metadata in these videos. And, you know,
explain to me what metadata is.
Metadata is it's like, have you ever seen the photo, like photos go out there and somebody's like got a watermark on there and it's like copyrighted, or like it's got their logo on there. Think about that, but in the like behind the photo or the video, like what's inside of it, like, and all the code that, you know, because all these things is codec. It's just codec, which is 0, 1, 0,
ones
you know,
and zeros,
beep, boop, bop, bop stuff, you know. Sure. But like I can actually go into metadata, alter it, and then and I do this, you know, I put our website in there, I put our Instagram in there, I put our handles in there and stuff like that, and I put the client stuff in there too. But they'll never know that. But when they go and post that on, you know, Instagram, Facebook, their website, that metadata is in there. And so when people are clicking on that and when they're viewing it and watching it, like, that's where, you know, they're never going to, like, the viewer's never going to know that. But if we were to turn on ads and now you've clicked on that, you know, especially with like Facebook, boy, you're done for. Like, game over for you if I ever turn on ads for Media Pouch and I've got metadata in all those videos, because I can literally, it's going to target the hell out of you.
Right.
And that's what happens. You know, like a good production company, like if they're not if they're not sticking some metadata in there, like some good like websites, or like you can even do this shit on YouTube where like I can actually peg our competitors. And if somebody searches for competition on YouTube, I can make us come in right after that. And that's what I do, you know, because you can go in there and alter the code on it and stuff. So
it's amazing. I mean, it's amazingly scary.
Right.
It's
like
nuts. It's nuts.
And it's not just clicking a camera and turning it on anymore.
No.
You know?
No, this thing just got a whole lot weirder, didn't it?
And that's what's cool is because like you are a full-fledged media company, so you're not just clicking a camera, setting up mics. You actually care about the third part of this entire thing, which is distribution, ROI, you know, words that people are throwing around in the boardroom.
And it sounds like it's just important for you to have a great result because you're building your brand than it is for, you know, the person who paid for the video themselves or the experience. Because it's really not, it's not a video, man. It's not, you know, this is a full on experience. Well, this is what this is.
And that's why I stopped selling it as like videos, right? Like all the verbiage that we use, like they're video assets, and assets are, you know, items that work for you. They provide a value and they return a result. That's an asset at the end of the day, and that's what these videos are, and that's why I call them video assets now. And so when people, you know, just the other day I had somebody call me and they want to do a product video, give them the price, and they're like, well, can you give a discount? And I'm like, no. I'm like, this is a freaking asset, man. I'm like, I get it, the price is expensive, but you're getting this. Like, I laugh at myself sometimes because I'm like, why am I only charging this? And I just made this person like $400,000. I'm like, fuck no, I'm not giving you a discount. Like, I'm getting the short end of the stick here. So be happy that I'm even coming in at this price. And I'm not trying to be cocky or toot my own horn, but like, I'm not successful if the client's not successful. And what defines success there is the result that they get. And sometimes it's not like the money or the ROI. Sometimes the result is actually just brand awareness or getting, you know, launching a product or storytelling that brand. So like if that makes them successful, then it's a success for us. But if we're not doing that, then like, I mean, what do you got to stand on? Like, hey, got a cool camera.
Right. No doubt, man. Why do you... All that being said, metadata, cameras, post-production, editing, All that being said, I guess it's clear now, why do people hire the pros to do this stuff, man? Because you know me. Like, I came in and I had been collecting camera gear for the last 10 or 15 years. I've got more lights than you do.
I know. I'm like, bro, you got more lights than me.
If somebody wanted to see me some space, I could make that happen. But I think there came to a point where I realized that if I want to go to another level with this, then I'm going to have to hire a true professional. And so there's so much more than just the camera that takes place. And so, we talked with Josh Sigmund yesterday, a true professional in his craft, and he said, 10,000 hours and your subject makes you an expert. Mm-hmm. And clearly you're an expert, and clearly you've spent 10,000 hours. So, it just makes sense, right? To hire a professional to do these super engaging, hard tasks that you thought you might know about, but there's so many more layers to the onion.
Well, if you're looking for a simple clip, and you want to use your iPhone, that's what you're going to get, is a simple clip. If you're trying to chase Lamborghinis along the beach of California,
yep,
you better be able to run fast.
Yeah, seriously. I think I don't even think about it like that anymore, to be honest. I don't think about it from the perspective of can I do it? Will I do it? Should I do it? Can I do it? Should I do it? Or should I hire a professional? Like, I don't have that conversation anymore. It's more about it's the time aspect, right? Mm-hmm. And you get busier, like you get older in life, like time becomes really valuable. And where is my time best spent? Because, this is why I have a maid, and some people think I'm fucking lazy for it. But like, guess what? I don't want to sit there and do laundry on Sunday or clean my apartment on Sunday or meal prep on Sunday. I would rather pay somebody $200 a week to go do all that stuff for me, because that whole amount of time would take me probably 4.5, 5 hours to do, right? So if I value my time, which I do, and everybody else on this planet should, you pick that number, and if that person can come and do that thing for a cheaper amount than what you charge on an hourly basis, then you fucking hire them, because you're actually saving yourself money and time, and you're being more efficient with it. And that's the way I think now. And it's the same thing with, like, if we got a job out in California with Lamborghini, it's not, does this current setup work for us now, and can we make it work? But what do we need to actually make this more efficient, to spend less time doing it and have more profit and just make an overall better production? Like, who cares if it's $10,000 to buy that rig for the car? If it makes you more efficient and it gets a better shot and you can charge more for it, again, you make more money, you save more money.
Right.
And so that's, to go back to it, like, should I hire a professional or not? Well, what do you value your time at? Because, if you value it and it comes in below hiring that professional, then okay, then you probably should do it, actually. I'm not saying every single scenario is going to be, oh, better hire somebody because my time's like, if it's off, and if it's somebody's like, yeah, $10,000 for this, and I value my time, and it comes out to $5,000, then you should probably do it. Figure it out.
Like, if I was a real estate professional and I'm like, okay, I know I saw this badass video on YouTube, and I'm thinking, okay, I want my video to look like that, and then I go shoot my own video and it's here, then I have a decision to make. I either say, okay, I'm going to accept the result that I did,
yep,
or I'm going to take 10,000 hours to get it to that level,
yeah,
or I'm going to hire a professional. And how valuable is your time?
Yep,
is the question.
And what are the results do you want? What kind of results do you want
from making that decision?
Well, just from anything. I mean,
right.
Do you want amateur results? Somebody can go to, get on progressive.com and get their own auto quote.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
But there's value behind working with, your local, agent.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Agree.
Like, it's an experience, right?
Yep.
What are you going to do whenever you, get into an accident. You got these Texas minimum limits, and you put somebody in the hospital for the next 10 days, like, and you're like, oh wow, I didn't know what that really meant.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I want somebody to like be there, and I don't want a robot.
Well, and the same thing with media.
Yeah.
I don't want to track this. I don't want to put these digital footprints within a, and edit all this stuff. Dude, it's just not enough time in the day.
So many people that are about to listen and watch this shit might just be like, whoa.
Mm-hmm.
And if any video people are watching, I'll bet you they just learned a thing, because that is not a common thing. But it's just like your guys' secret sauces. And
Mm-hmm.
like, there's those little tidbits in there on how you get those results to run the right way.
But in the grand scheme of things too, people, so unfortunately people don't get this far because they either choose to give up, don't know how, and give up. They hit maybe it's a financial situation and they give up, and that's why it's super important to have a clear plan and what you're trying to accomplish.
Yeah,
it keeps everybody on the same page.
I agree. Yeah.
So what's your website again? Just for I should have dropped it at the beginning, but
yeah,
like, how can people get a hold of you? Like, if somebody is looking to take their production to the next level and they want to work with somebody who clearly they know, like, and trust, because you're here on the podcast. I mean, we've been pulling it out of you for the last hour, you know what I mean? And it's been fun. What's your website and what are your contacts and things like that? You know what I mean?
Yeah. So if you have a serious inquiry and like it's something time sensitive, then I would say just go straight to the website. Go to our contact page. The website's mediapouch.com. Pouch like a kangaroo.
Cool.
You guessed it. We got a kangaroo logo too. Fill out the contact form, submit an inquiry. That'll start the process real quick for you. Otherwise, if you just want to see the work and follow along and see behind the scenes stuff and how we do things and where we're at, Facebook, Instagram,
your YouTube's pretty good too.
YouTube as well. Yep. It's just Media Pouch, all one word or two words on YouTube. So
cool.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you guys wanted to touch before we get into our last kind of tip and stuff like that? Anything you wanted to drop or make sure you talked about before you get out of here?
The studio. Let's talk about this fucking thing for a second. I know we talked about going from like dream to vision, but like, how do you guys like it? Like, it's fully done now? Like the neon signs up? Like, how do you like it? What's the feedback?
We've had, everything's positive feedback. People just don't, it's kind of funny, man. It's really flattering too. I mean, people, you came in, we put together a rendering, we followed the rendering. I don't think people really imagined what this was going to turn out to be like. It's not cheap.
It's a face melter for sure.
Yeah.
It's not fast. It's not cheap.
For sure.
Dude, but I mean, as far as the results, I don't think we could have, done any better or made it, I wouldn't do anything different. I'll tell you that.
Yeah. No, I'm still speechless. People come in and as speechless as they are when they see the room.
Yeah.
I'm just as speechless to have this vision realized. 10 years later, if you would have told me that I'm sitting with one of the best production companies in Austin and one of the number one lenders in Texas, who in the largest companies, I'd have slapped you silly and fucking dude, there's no way that's going to happen.
Yeah.
But here we are, 10 years later, and things are just, I feel like we're just opening up the can of worms too.
Yep.
I mean, the potential is massive. You're talking about guys like Black Rifle Coffee want to come in.
Yep.
I'm
excited for you guys to have them.
The gentleman who's running for mayor for San Antonio wants to come in.
Massive.
And it just keeps going from there, and they only get bigger and bigger. So
I mean, the opportunity. There is no. The opportunities is really simply endless. I mean, there's.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's just based on where do we want to close the door. You know what I mean?
Sure. I walked out of here yesterday and I put it on my Facebook. Took a picture with our last guest, and then my next post was, "There are no limits."
Nope.
No.
Because right now, that's the way I feel.
Yeah.
So what was the where did this all come from again? Where did this idea come from for the podcast studio? And what is your guys' goal with this podcast? I'm going to flip the script. I know you ended this, but I'm going to flip the script now, and we're going to get down to this podcast studio.
It's always, for me, and I know that, and we share the same values, but it's beautiful that we're different people and we share slightly different values.
Yeah.
It's always been about driving value, giving value to the person that is our referral partner that we care about. We always come with the value first. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah, just in case anybody missed it, we're co-owners of an insurance agency.
Right.
That's the best freaking part. Do you ever has anybody walked in here yet and they're just like, what the fuck are you guys doing?
It is kind of funny. Yeah. You know, it all started just from, really just wanting to be better. I mean, whenever you tell people, whenever you tell your team, we have 18 employees here. Whenever you tell your team that we're going to intentionally disrupt the market, you better be ready, because now you got 18 little bitty accountability partners, and they're like, okay, well, how are we going to do that, boss? And it's like, oh shit, you know what I mean?
Say that out loud?
So the evolution, the things that we can accomplish now, it's endless. Like it just simply endless. It really all started out with, man, we should try to be, how are we going to be innovative this year? How are we going to dive into technology? Yeah. Because if there's one thing that insurance is technology. Yeah. It is now with all these insurance tech companies, and you can, it's moving fast, but we still have, I'm a proactive guy, and I'm a control the controllables. Yep. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah. So, we talked about the Liberty Mutual, YouTube clip. Cool. Doesn't mean I can't do that. Right. You know what I mean? Why can't I do that? What's holding me back? Well, the only thing really holding me back is myself. Yeah. Okay, so let me go find an expert. Let me go hire an expert. How much is it going to cost me? Here's my plan. How can you help me? You know what I mean? Yep. And that's really just kind of what it boils down to. Where is it? All this only stops at your imagination.
100%. If you can think it, dream it, you can do it. Like, seriously.
Walt Disney style, dude. Yeah. If you can dream it, you can achieve it, dude.
Yeah. Maybe, I don't know if I do the acid thing like him, but, yeah. Sometimes I guess that's what it takes for people, but,
Back in the day, those are days that are behind us, sir. Cool. Yeah, man. I don't know. You got any other questions for us? But no, it's been a hell of an experience. I mean, very satisfying, especially putting our hands and saws and blades to create a lot of the things that you see. I mean, Eric created the panels,
which are phenomenal, by the way.
They're all custom.
Yeah, they
whenever
are custom.
I build our studio out, you're gonna design our sound panels, because you can't even buy good. I mean, they don't come with the LED lights like that. You gotta custom do that. So you're the sound panel guy now.
I have been known.
How do we get a hold of you, Eric?
Mediapouch.com.
Yeah, dude. It's cool. I mean, he made the panels, and then we hot glued the LEDs, and it's just been super cool.
I'm so happy for you guys. Well, I love that you guys get to experience your dream now every day, and this is part of the reason you're walking in here happy. I mean, that's cool.
We were talking about this earlier. I'll just share it. It's like I was driving to the office at 12:30 this afternoon, thinking that if somebody would have asked me what'd you do today, how was work, I played golf with 3 realtors and came and did a podcast. And I'm going home now. Yep. I'm going home after this.
All smiles, dude.
How many people? I mean, I wouldn't say anybody can do this. Everybody has a challenge, right? Yep. But, you can, this for me, there's something within your life, personal or professional, that is the same, greatness that we feel for this. Man, you just got to go find it. So.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, once you get through those grinding startup stages, If you're starting out, no, don't do this stuff.
Right.
But yeah, you get to that point, that's when you start focusing on that. And
when you start to emerge from like the primordial soup of like entrepreneurship.
Yeah, exactly.
You finally can take a paycheck.
Yeah.
Things of that nature.
No doubt, man. No doubt.
So, Ryan, if there's one, are you going to?
No, go ahead, please.
Dude, if there's
going.
one thing, we always love to finish. If I were you, there's one thing that you could pass on to, a listener or a friend, anybody who's looking to get into something like this. What is one tip that you would leave with somebody?
I would leave them with, if I were you and you wanted to start out in business or your entrepreneur journey, or even just like, say you're in the corporate 9-to-5 thing and trying to like get that promotion or new client or job, like there's so much, like people don't value this, but provide so much value and pour your heart into it and hard work, and like whatever that thing is, if you're chasing that new client, then provide them value up front. Like earn their trust. Like give them something that they really value, and just show them what you can do and allow them that opportunity to work with you, because it'll pay dividends. Like people don't do that nowadays, and it's 9 times out of 10 why they don't get that promotion, because they think that, well, if I just do my standard work, then I'm going to get promoted. But the real people that are getting promoted and landing those clients are the ones providing that value to that company, brand, boss, client, and those are the ones winning right now. So that's what I would do if I were you. Any tips for getting prepared to use your service? For Media Pouch's services?
For Media Pouch. If somebody is interested in Media Pouch.
Maybe they're looking over the fence a little bit.
If you were them, what were you?
Well, a lot of the, not pre-qualifiers, but like, more of a discovery form. And what I'm really looking for is, most people don't know what they want, and they don't know what they need to come to that meeting with. Mm-hmm. And what I'm able to extract before that helps me figure that out for them. But it's, well, what makes you happy? And, when I mean that, I mean it in the business sense. And take that a step further. How many more customers would you like to attain each month or next month or the next 12 months? Like, what are your goals this year? It's things like that where you need to have your own business figured out and your own goals figured out and like your game plan, so that we can help you hit that. Because if you don't have one, then I don't know where to aim for you. Like if you don't know what your goals are as a business, like maybe you shouldn't be in business. But like if you have those things, then that's what really helps us like get things started if you're interested in working with us. Because if you say that your goal is to do $250,000 this year or attain one new client or one new customer per month, then I can break that shit down and really show you how we're going to do it through video. If that's
Did y'all see that I guess a reporter asked Elon Musk, like, what
would it take for you to stop?
No, it was like what kind of motivation would you give to somebody trying to start their own business or some business owner?
Don't.
Yeah, he was like, if I have to motivate somebody like that, I'm paraphrasing this. Yeah. He's like, if I have to motivate somebody, you should not be a business owner. And there's only one thing wrong with that saying. Is that it did not come out of my mouth first.
Yeah, dude, definitely.
But he's right, though. I mean, it's like, dude, like being a business owner is not for the weak-hearted or like the unmotivated, because you will get yourself in some serious hard times if that's the case.
Hey, man, you got to pick yourself up. You're going to be we talked about this yesterday. You're going to be the hardest on yourself, and then you got to be able to pick yourself back up.
And you got to be your own cheerleader too.
Yeah, and just walk right back into the office and act like nothing's wrong.
Yep.
And just motor through the day.
Exactly.
Yeah. They also asked him, what would it take for you to give up or to stop? And he said, I'd have to be dead or incapacitated
Yeah.
because I'm not going to stop. And that kind of determination and drive is just.
Oh, dude, he's just a guy's a pioneer, man.
Yeah,
He is.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Very cool. Okay, so I promised everybody that we'd give them one tidbit, one last tip.
Okay.
If you don't have a $10,000, media room studio, and you don't have $1,500 in mics and 3 cameras and all this and that, are there any? I have a tip, and I just wanted to brainstorm with you guys on it. What are some tips and some things that people can do in order to kind of get their message out there, like we are, but on a different level, right? A beginner's level. So mine is always consistency and persistency, right? Whatever you're going to do, I don't care if you've got a camera and you're standing in front of a white wall, just do it every week or whatever your schedule is. Do you have any kind of tidbits on something like that?
So, like, for getting started with video specifically, is that what you're asking?
Or not getting started, just there's somebody out there who has a business, right? And they want to just start getting involved, just start to turn the camera on and to do something. They know they want to start posting on social. They know they want to maybe start posting on YouTube, but they're just like, I don't know what to say. I don't know when to say it, how often to post it, where to post it, so
yeah,
just if there's any tips like that for just kind of like a beginner with a big heart, you know what I mean, that wants to get their message out there.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of like brainstorming, and I know that can be like a hard thing sometimes for people, but if you're really just starting out and trying to like, oh, what do I talk about? Start with a content calendar. That's probably the best way to start really brainstorming. And
that's a great idea,
because the content calendar is going to show you all the different holidays, like the Mother's Day, Father's Day, and when you visually see something like that, that's when your brain can start actually working. And then you ask yourself, oh, well, how does my business fit in with that? Half the work's already done. Here's Mother's Day, Father's Day, Christmas, President's Day, like
maybe.
There's all kinds of national holiday, like national days, like National Chicken Wing Day. So if you're a restaurant, like how do I tie into that? But start with the content calendar and then just start writing it in there. Like, oh, if this is Chicken Wing Day, like great, we sell soda. So how do we, I would tie soda or beer into chicken wings with.
So we have to find when National Chicken Wing Day is, though, by the way. That's one thing I gathered.
But this is what a content calendar does.
Sure.
I'm probably the worst person at it too, to be honest. But that's just not how we market things. But like for somebody starting out and trying to get the finer details and figure it out, that's where you start at.
Yeah, we did a brainstorming cloud exercise for this as well, and it was, what's our central theme? Okay, simplify life. Now let's take a bunch of Post-it notes and talk about, different ideas or themes or experiences that come to mind when you're talking about simplifying life.
Yeah.
Right, and so that's kind of where we did it.
Kind of piggybacking off what Ryan said, video's not perfect.
No.
You know what I mean? There's imperfections.
Yep.
But that's the beauty of it. That's the beauty of being a human. That's the beauty of posting the video on Chicken Wing Day and you got like ranch on this corner and like hot wing sauce like over your left cheek. Like roll with it, man.
Yeah.
You're a human, dude. Like people are going to be like, dude, you got chicken wing on your face. I'm like, yeah, no, it's cool, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like just go.
Yeah.
And I think people like, I suffer from paralysis by analysis. But when it comes to videos, you just got to shoot it.
Yeah.
One take, bro. That's all you got.
Yeah.
Just one take post.
And there's two things to that too, like that I'm going to start like documenting stuff, right? Because you're going to look back and you're going to have that whole entire documentation of like your journey, like, which is what I love. That's why I've been documenting all of our stuff from day one. I can go back years and be like, man, that video is fucking shitty.
Right.
Or like
Exactly.
I can remember like, certain shoots that we did. And it's the same thing for anybody starting with, just start documenting all of it. And so you can just have an archive of it. But then the other thing is, paralysis by analysis. What do people think? I find myself doing this all the time. I'm like, that's not good content. Like people won't like that. But it doesn't matter. I've gotten way past that. I'm like, I am one set of eyes in this world with one single set of perception on things.
Right.
And I swear it happens every single time. I think it's stupid or dumb or it's not going to work, and it does the complete opposite. And I'm like, why the fuck do people like this? But it works.
Yeah.
And so like that's I think the more important thing is like why you can't do the paralysis by analysis, because you're probably not right what you think people are going to like or not like. So.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, man, I think people just want to work with people. People want to be relatable.
Yeah.
You just, if I was going to say, tell anybody, you know, a tip, press play, press stop, post it.
Yeah.
Get on with your day.
Tip. Get on with your day, man.
Yeah.
You can spend you really got a choice. You can spend 4 hours trying to make the perfect video that's going to get the same amount of likes and shares as the 30-second clip that you did that wasn't perfect, but it was relatable.
Yep.
So
exactly.
Beautiful. All right, MediaPouch.com. Ryan Gallego out of Austin, Texas. Man, we appreciate you coming, dude.
Thanks for having me.
This is awesome.
I'm glad, you know, I got to sit in the studio today with you guys and like actually experience it with you.
It is an experience.
It's very fulfilling.
It's been great.
That's what we feel like. All right, man. Well, we appreciate you, and we'll catch you on the next one, huh?
All right. We'll see you guys.
All right, brother.